Hello, my name is Pullein and welcome to another episode of my Productivity Mastery series. Now, this week, what I want to talk to you is about questioning your assumptions. Now, this is something that I did over the winter break. I had a look at all the things I was doing in my life, all the assumptions I had about productivity systems, time management and time management systems. And I questioned all the assumptions that I had. Assumptions like you had to organize everything by your projects, or you also had to have a context or a label or a tag attached to every task. Now, I had allowed myself to start believing that these things were correct. But I started to question this and I started experimenting. You know, during the December break, I traveled to visit my parents to spend Christmas with my family. So it was a kind of downtime. I wasn't really working on any projects, but I had a few things that I had to do each day. So I removed the labels and actually found that my system was beginning to speed up. When I entered towards the end of December, I thought maybe what I can do is let's try without projects. Let's add in time boxes. Let's go back to when I really first started with productivity using a filofax, if anyone remembers that from the late 1980s, or using the Franklin Planner, which was never about adding projects or even including more projects. It was always based on when did this have to be done by. So once I'd removed those and added a few time boxes, I found that my whole productivity system suddenly became super fast. Processing was easier. Actually, I didn't have that much to think about. The only question I had was, when does this task need to be done by? It really helped me to speed up my system. But that then led me to ask and question other things. And something that came up from my video from last week, where I said that your to-do list is often a very, very dangerous thing if you want to be more productive. It harms your productivity. I had a few people adding comments saying, yes, but Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins, Elon Musk, they all have personal assistants to manage their projects. Well, maybe that is true today. But the thing is, as I've been researching these people, and certainly Warren Buffett, he's never ever had a to-do list. And yet he's incredibly successful because he focuses in on the things that he's identified as being incredibly important. And one of those is not email. Warren Buffett claims to have only ever written one email in his whole life, but he will make sure that he spends 5 hours a day doing reading, researching and reading companies. Now, how many of you are reading about your vocation every single day? How many of you who are in sales, for example, are reading about the top salespeople in the world to learn tips and tricks? Probably not many of you. You do not need a to-do list or a personal assistant to do that for you. You do the work. And so when you start assuming that successful people are only successful because they have personal assistants, then immediately you've lost, because you're not going to challenge that. You're not going to figure out how you can do it, perhaps because you can't afford to have an assistant. I can't afford to have a personal assistant managing my to-do list, and I do perfectly okay without one. So what you need to do is you need to look at all the assumptions you have about the way you do work, about how you manage your work, how you manage your projects, your tasks. Ask the questions, is this the right way? Is there a better way of doing this? Instead of assuming that just because David Allen says this is the way to do something, it must be the right way. It might be the right way. Another one that I come across, just to give you another example of this, is Robin Sharma talks about the value of waking up at 5 a.m. every morning and doing the 20-20-20, that 20 minutes exercise, 20 minutes planning and 20 minutes learning. Now that's a great concept. I love that idea. But the problem for me is I'm often working until midnight and 1 a.m. I get a second bounce, if you like. I find myself can be incredibly creative between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And I don't want to waste that opportunity because I feel or think or someone told me that waking up at 5 a.m. will result in me being successful. Well, no, it won't. For me, waking up about 7:30 actually works better. I can still do 20 minutes exercise, 20 minutes planning and 20 minutes studying if I want to do between 7 and 8, because I have a little bit more flexibility in my schedule, perhaps more than most people do. But it doesn't just mean that that is written the rule, that is the golden rule. You can modify, you can play around with, and you can figure out a way that works best for you. It's challenging those assumptions. It's the only way that you are going to make those changes to your life that will help you to achieve your goals. I've got people who come around and say, oh, I can't lose weight because I'm big boned. Well, maybe you've always been a heavy person. Maybe that's true. But it doesn't mean you cannot lose weight. There are ways of doing it. And, it's a matter of really investigating and figuring out how you can do this if you really want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. But that's a completely different argument to making the assumption that just because something is, or just because you come from a particular background or you have a particular educational level, that you are stuck. You are not stuck. Challenge those assumptions. If you ever find yourself saying, I can't, stop yourself and ask the question, why am I saying this? Is this really true? Because often the assumption, or if you like, another way of putting it is the false belief, is limiting you. It's stopping you from creating a better way of doing something. It's stopping you from becoming a much more productive person. It's probably stopping you from advancing in your career or even achieving your long-term goals. So what I urge you to do this week is to look at all the assumptions you have about you, about the way you do things. Why are you doing things? Just question everything and ask that really powerful question, is there a better way? Can I do this a better way? Can I make this more efficient? Can I make this more effective? Can I really drive through and start achieving these goals that I've always wanted to achieve? Anyway, I think hopefully I've got my point across. It's one of the things that I really valued from my time last December, where I was reviewing everything, where I really questioned my assumptions on everything. And I found that some amazing new ways of managing my work, of managing the content that I'm creating each week. And it was one of the best exercises I've done. It's something in the back of my mind I've known for a long time, but it was just wonderful to actually put it into practice. It can be very uncomfortable at times, but it's certainly worth it, because when you come out of that discovery period at the end of it, you often come out with some amazing things. So I just want to put that out there. Start questioning your assumptions. Don't assume that something is just because. Figure out why. It might be true. And I want to leave you on one thing. If I wanted to become the President of the United States, there is a point that people will say, you can't because you were not born in the United States. And this is absolutely true. The rules are you have to be born in the United States if you want to become the President of the United States. But my mindset says, well, see, now I can challenge that assumption. If I was on TV, if I was able to put out the best policies that attracted the most people and then lobbied for a change in the Constitution, there is a possibility. The truth is, I have no desire to be the President of the United States. I have no desire to go into politics in any way, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to make the assumption that just because the rule says you have to be born in the United States, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to change the rule. A rule can be changed. You just have to lobby and you have to have the passion to do it. I do not have the passion to do it, but that's something I just want to put out there to show you how you can question assumptions, how you can challenge your assumptions to see if you can move yourself further forward with your life, with your goals, and with your overall productivity system. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode. Don't forget, if you do get any value from this, I would really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to the channel. Okay, it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Thank you very much for watching this video. Now, I have a question for you. Are you ready to go beyond the to-do list? Now, the reason I ask that question is because your to-do list is never going to do the work for you. Your to-do list is only ever going to show you what needs to be done. And that often can cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and a lot of overwhelm. What really helps you to get your work done and what really helps you to become much more productive is developing your own workflow. A workflow that you work from every single day that makes sure that you stay focused on the things that you have identified are the most important things to you. Now that could be your work, it could be your goals, it could be your family, it could be your personal life, it could be your self-development. Whatever that is entirely personal to you. But the key is to develop the workflow so that you are consistently making small steps towards achieving the things that you want to achieve every single day. And that's why I have developed my Productivity Mastermind course, creating your very own custom workflow. And I would love for you to check out the course. The course is available now, details of which are in the notes below, and I would just love to see you in this course. So please join me in the Productivity Mastermind course, developing your very own custom workflow, because this is a course that's going to take you way beyond the to-do list so that you start to really move forward on the goals and the things that you have identified are important to you. Thank you very much.